I woke up to the sound of kids cheering and the unmistakable pop of a confetti cannon. At first, I thought it was coming from the street, but no, the noise was coming from my own backyard. Still half asleep in my pajamas, I shuffled over to the window, rubbed my eyes, and almost had a heart attack. There, in my private, pull-me-clear, pristine, chlorine-balanced pool was a crowd of people. Streamers hung from my trees, pink balloons floated everywhere, and a huge banner stretched across the back fence. "It's a girl," floated above what used to be sparkling blue water. Front and center, grinning like she just won a Lifetime Achievement Award, was none other than Melody Caldwell, the president of our HOA and resident control freak, holding a champagne glass aloft like she owned the place. I blinked, then blinked again. Maybe I was still dreaming. But the music, the splashing, the smell of grilled food, and the squeals of children said otherwise. My head spun. I grabbed my phone and rushed outside, barefoot and wild-eyed. The second I pushed open the backyard gate, a woman I didn't even know shoved a cupcake into my hand and said, "Oh hey, you must be the pool guy. Great job with the theme." I dropped the cupcake. Melody was standing by the pool, mic in hand, loudly thanking everyone for making the surprise celebration possible. Someone clapped. A kid in a tutu leapt off my diving board. My jaw clenched so tight I could feel the roots of my molars ache. "Melody," I shouted, trying to keep my voice calm. "What the hell is going on?" She turned toward me slowly, heels clicking on the stone as she strutted forward, acting like I was a guest in her space. "Oh, good morning. I was hoping you'd be okay with this. It's my niece's gender reveal. Isn't it beautiful?" She gestured to my vandalized oasis like she expected a standing ovation. We didn't have a big enough yard. So I thought, hey, Nathan's backyard is so underused, why not make it magical? "You broke into my property," I snapped. She rolled her eyes, waving her manicured hand like I'd just accused her of borrowing my lawnmower. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. The side gate was unlocked." "No, it wasn't. I keep it padlocked." "Oh, well, we had to snip it. You really should use better locks." I felt my hands clench into fists. My brain ran through every revenge fantasy imaginable. She had cut the lock, hosted a full-blown event in my backyard, dyed my pool water pink, and now expected me to say thank you. I walked the perimeter, snapping photos of everything: the speakers, the stage near the diving board, the pink streamers, even a cotton candy stand someone had wedged between my patio furniture. This wasn't some last-minute pop-up. It was a coordinated operation. Then Melody dropped her biggest bomb yet. "I mean," she said sweetly, "I ran it by the HOA board last week. Nobody objected. So technically, it's within regulation." My brain short-circuited. "Melody, you don't have the authority to approve events on private property." "Oh, I didn't approve it." Her eyes twinkled. "But unofficially, everyone was totally on board. The only thing I was on board with was calling the police. And that's exactly what I did." The second I started dialing, Melody's smile vanished. "You're seriously calling the police? Over a baby party?" "No. Over trespassing, destruction of property, unauthorized use of my land, breaking and entering." "Want me to keep going?" The laughter and music died off like a radio losing power. Partygoers started backing away from the pool. Melody raised her hand like she was directing traffic at a red carpet event. "You're ruining a very special day. You ruined my property." I fired back. She crossed her arms. "You do this and I swear I'll have your landscaping permit revoked. I'll report your yard as a hazard zone. You're in violation of aesthetic guidelines." That's when she made her biggest mistake. She called the cops herself. "Yes, hello? I'm the president of the HOA," she said into her phone. "I'm at a residence and the homeowner is being aggressive. I'm concerned for everyone's safety." 15 minutes later, the cops arrived just in time for her to give a toast with sparkling cider. When they stepped into my backyard, their expressions went from professional to confused. Melody rushed to meet them. "Officers, thank goodness. This man is threatening us and trying to shut down a peaceful family event." The officers turned to me. I explained everything, showed them the cut lock, the photos, the video footage from my security camera. To their credit, they didn't buy her act for a second. One officer quietly asked if I wanted to press charges. I told him not yet. I wanted to understand just how deep this rabbit hole went. The officers ordered Melody to remove all guests immediately. Her niece started crying. A guy holding a diaper cake began yelling about how they should have just used a park. As they packed up the pink madness, Melody slithered up to me and hissed, "You're going to regret this." I whispered back, "You already do." By sunset, my pool looked like a tub of strawberry yogurt and my nerves were shot. But I wasn't letting this slide. The next morning, I found a violation notice taped to my door. Apparently, I'd hosted an unregistered party that violated HOA Article 6.3.2, some nonsense about community tranquility. 3 more letters followed. One about pool chemical imbalance. Another requesting my appearance before the board. It wasn't passive aggression anymore. It was full-scale HOA warfare. So I fought back with documents. I dug into every bylaw, every clause, every HOA packet I had ever received. Then I gathered my evidence, Melody's Facebook post bragging about the party, a selfie of her in my pool holding a pink champagne flute, and security footage with full audio where she jokes, if he comes home early, he'll just have to deal with it. The HOA board meeting came 3 days later. I showed up early, laptop in one hand and a folder in the other. Melody walked in like she was royalty at a gala. The meeting slogged through minor complaints, then finally it was my turn. Melody read her complaint like she was starring in a courtroom drama. Nathan Hayes has shown repeated disregard for HOA regulations and engaged in aggressive behavior during a joyful neighborhood event. When she was done, I calmly plugged in my laptop, queued up the security footage, and hit play. Silence fell. There she was on camera, cutting the lock, tossing inflatables over the fence, giving orders like a party general. The audio of her saying, "Then he'll have to deal with it," was the nail in the coffin. Even Dave, the most neutral board member, chuckled. Melody accused me of invasion of privacy. Claimed the footage was fake. Then said she had verbal permission from my housekeeper. I don't have a housekeeper. Despite the overwhelming evidence, the board was cowardly. They fined Melody for trespassing, but also fined me for failure to secure private property. Dave caught me afterward. "She counts on exhaustion," he said. "She drains people until they give up." That's when I decided I wouldn't play defense anymore. I'd fight fire with mud. Literally. Buried in the HOA rules was a clause about temporary ecological rehabilitation. With the right paperwork, I could restore my yard without HOA approval. So I began the Swamp Project. Truckloads of dirt, compost, native plants. I turned my pool into a wetland. I even installed a solar fountain and put up official signs, soil stabilization in progress. Melody passed by with her dog and nearly fainted. "What are you doing?" she barked. "Restoring the habitat," I said, sipping my coffee. She sputtered. She threatened. She complained. But it was all legal. She tried to throw a redemption block party in the HOA's communal lot next to my swamp. Bad move. It rained. The ground turned to mush. Her niece's stroller rolled into the mud. Melody dove in after it and slipped, landing face first. Cameras clicked. Phones filmed. It was beautiful. Within days, a motion was passed to remove her as president. She was out. Over. But I wasn't done. Turns out Melody wasn't even a homeowner. Her sister owned the property she lived in. That meant she had never legally been eligible for the HOA board. I gave the proof to Teresa, the new president. A week later, Melody's entire tenure was voided. All her fines revoked. All her power erased. And then came the zoning inspection. The guest house she lived in, unpermitted. She had 30 days to vacate or face fines. I didn't throw a party. I didn't gloat. I just watched her load up a U-Haul one box at a time. Alone. Then I restored my pool. Clean. Blue. Peaceful. And I threw a quiet barbecue for the neighborhood. Nothing crazy. Just a few good people, music, and burgers. Dave showed up. Teresa smiled. And someone asked if I'd ever turn the backyard into a swamp again. Only if I have to, I said. But inside, I knew I wouldn't have to. Because the best revenge isn't loud. It's legal, patient, and permanent. Just like the end of Melody Caldwell.